there yet. These are the questions. How goes the battle? Can everybody hear me out there? What do we got? Hello from London, Ontario, formerly Bonnyville. I don't know. Was London, Ontario actually called Bonnyville at one time? Nice to see you. Are we live? Can you hear me out there in your particular northern town? Yes? No? Hello, Matthew Ketchum. Byron, nice to see you, buddy. There's a gentleman who I cut many a lap with over the days. Are we live? Everybody's waving, saying hello. Are we there? Testing 1, 2. Loud and clear. All right, Jerry. Everybody say happy birthday to Jerry out there. Celebrating the, let's see, 40. I think it's a 45th anniversary of his 29th birthday. Anyway, welcome to... Man, I am like as nervous as you could possibly imagine. In fact, I don't even think I should hold my hand up because you will see me shaking in such a way you may send me off for drug tests. Yeah, man. Welcome to Songs from a Northern Town, Revisited. I recorded this album in Dallas, Texas, back in 1993. I see my buddy Will Ersman is tuning in today as well. And Will played bass on the record. My brother and I hung out with Will a lot when we lived in Dallas. And Will is a gem of a character. But more about Will later. But yes, I don't know if you read my story that I posted a couple months ago about the first time I went to Los Angeles, the first time I crossed the border, where I showed up at the border, and the only identification I had was my driver's license and a Blockbuster video card. Well, yeah, hilarity ensued. But anyway, I finally made it to Los Angeles, and while I was there, I met this guy named Gene Eckert, and I'm hoping Gene tunes in today, but we shall see. Hello, Carrie. Nice to see you. So I met Gene in Los Angeles, and Gene was from Dallas, Texas. And he said, man, we got to get you to Dallas to record an album. And I said, man, I am, color me there. I am so in, it's not even funny. And so that was in October of 1990. September of 1991, I was on my way to Dallas, Texas to visit him. And just to sort of, start taking those steps forward to maybe somewhere down the road recording an album. And so I showed up at the border. This time I didn't just have I had my driver's license, but I left my Blockbuster video card at home. This time I had my birth certificate, so they would let me in. And I showed up at the border here. I showed up at the airport here in Edmonton, and I had my guitar with me. And the guy at the border says, where are you going? Dallas, Texas. How long are you going to be there for? A week and a half. I think it was a week and a half is what it was. And maybe it was a week. Anyway, how long are you going to be in Dallas for? A week. Okay, good. What do you do in Canada? I'm a musician. Is that your guitar there? Yes, sir. Why are you bringing your guitar? I said, well, my friend that I'm staying with, he plays the piano, and, we're probably going to maybe mess around, play some guitars and sing some songs and stuff like that. And he said, a receptionist would never bring her typewriter on vacation. Why would a musician bring his guitar? And at that point, I was stumped. And he turned me away. He said, you can't come in. So I turned around and I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. My friends had just dropped me off at the airport. And back then in 1991, there were no cell phones to speak of. So I had to wait till they drove all the way back downtown Edmonton and called them and said, hey, can you come back? Can you come back and get me? It wouldn't have dawned on me to take a cab. No, that would have made too much sense. But anyway, he said, the immigration guy said, if you do want to come to Dallas, or if you do want to get in the United States, I'm going to need to know that you're going to be coming back. So I need contracts. So that afternoon, 6 hours after I'd been denied entry into the United States, I went to my agent's office and I said, look, I need some contracts for my gigs next week and the week after and the week after to prove to these folks that I'm coming back. And my agent said, no, I'm not going to give you contracts. The contract is that is between you and the club. She said, I will write a nice letter for you and let them know that that we represent you and we're booking you next week, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay. So she wrote me this nice letter, and I went back to the airport the next day, and I get to the front of the line, and who am I dealing with again? Same guy. And where are you going? Dallas, Texas. It says here on your plane ticket you're supposed to leave yesterday. Why didn't you leave yesterday? And I said, oh, well, I was actually talking with you, but, I didn't... you needed contracts and stuff like that. He said, oh, yeah, do you have those contracts with you? And I said, well, I got this. And so I give him this letter. And he reads the letter and he just says, this just proves that she knows you. This doesn't prove to me that you're coming back. So see you later. And I remember when he said see you later, I actually for a split second thought he meant see you later, have a good trip. I said, you mean I'm in? He goes, no, I'm not letting you in. So I was turned away 2 days in a row. And then it was eventually... it took me a full year to get back to Dallas, to get to Dallas in the first place. And it started, Chris and I, my brother Chris was going to school in Los Angeles. And so I was going to drive him, help share the driving, take the trip down to LA with him. And so right before we left Alberta, right before we left Bonnieville, I bought a return ticket from Los Angeles to Edmonton. For that, like we were leaving like on a Monday, I think it was, and I was flying back. I had a return ticket for the Friday. So we get to the border and they said, where are you going? Los Angeles. Trust me, this is a very long-winded story that I won't tell the whole thing. I will save it for one of my little stories that I post. But so we get to the border. Where are you going? Los Angeles. Why are you going to Los Angeles? Well, my brother's going to school there, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. And he had a rigmarole as well to get through the border. But he said, so when are you coming back to Canada? I said, well, I'm flying back on Friday. So he said, I got my plane ticket right here. So he looks at my plane ticket. He says, oh, okay, good. So he lets me in. We're probably held up at the border for 2 or 3 hours. We finally get in. A day later, we get to Los Angeles. And as soon as we got to Los Angeles, I called Air Canada and said, I would like to, can I change that ticket? I'd like to change that for a month from now, if that's okay. And while you're at it, can I get a round trip ticket to Dallas, Texas, out of LAX? That's how I ended up in Texas. And it was there. When I was there, I brought my guitar with me, and it was there that I got to hang out with Gene again. It was then that I met Will and I met Philip Barrett, the gentleman who produced the album, and I played them the songs. And then we said, okay, so in January or February of '93, so 4 or 5 months later, let's get you down here and we'll start rehearsing, and we'll put together a band for you, and we'll see what we can do about recording an album. And I thought that I just couldn't even believe it. So with that, I was off and running. So anyway, this story of the album would be half done by now if I wasn't telling this story. Chris says I still have problems at the border because of this trip. Yeah, every time I get to the border now to this day, if they ask me if I've been denied entry, I have to tell them yes. But anyway, but that was kind of how that all unfolded. That's how I ended up in Texas the first time. And then 6 months later, I ended up going back down. Chris flew down about a month after I got there, and we did all the pre-production for the record with Philip and Will and Gene and Steve and Mark. And it was great fun. And they say that, before I even go further, I want to read you this little thing here. I got the liner notes from the original pressing of the album. And inside it, I wrote, I didn't write, I took a quote from Theodore Roosevelt. And it said, far better is it to dare mighty things, to win glorious triumphs, even though checkered with failure, than to take rank with those poor spirits who neither enjoy much nor suffer much, because they live in the gray twilight that knows not victory nor defeat. And I heeded that advice. I have attempted glorious victories, and it's been checkered in defeat, checkered with failure. But that's okay. It's what's given me all these great stories. But it is so true. And then I wrote a little note on the inside as well that said, "Welcome to a northern town, just west of nowhere and about an hour east of someplace better. These songs aren't about anyone, anywhere in particular, but more about everyone, everywhere in general." Yeah. And that was my hope when I wrote this record. Just west of nowhere and about an hour east of someplace better. Do you recognize that lyric, or a paraphrased version of that lyric? Just east of nowhere and west of someplace better, we were all going to get on out of there come first break in the weather. That's from my song Born by the Radio. And I wrote that line in August 1993. And I carried it around from 93 until it came out on an album in 2018. So how about that business? Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to dig into this record. I don't remember who said this, but I think it might have been a Paul McCartney quote where he said, amateurs borrow, professionals steal. Well, throughout the next hour or so while I'm playing these songs, I will show you just how much I borrowed. Back in these days, I was listening to an awful lot of John Mellencamp, big fan, and I loved his album. I loved all his records actually, but I really loved the album Big Daddy. And on the album Big Daddy, there was a song called Martha Say. Martha says you don't need no stinking man making no decisions for. Well, I wanted to write something with that kind of feel, even that chord progression for that matter. And so that's how I stumbled onto Ain't That the Truth. The album, by and large, was inspired by the book and by the movie The Last Picture Show by Larry McMurtry. Anyway, here we go. And this is the guitar that I recorded the entire album on. Wrote this song in May of 1992. My mom passed away in April of 92, and a couple weeks later, in the space of about a week or so, I wrote the bulk of this record. And this is just a song about growing up in a small town. And it doesn't matter what you do in that small town. Everybody already knows. Anyway, here you go. Dusty old town, a cruiser named Drag Desk to see who's around. Ain't nothing happening, man, it's always the same. If you want to see tomorrow, take a look at yesterday. Yesterday. Now people talk, man, they always will. You know, I spent my time in the rumor mill. I choose to be here, there's no gun to my head. I'd rather live here than the city instead. Well, ain't that the truth? Sliding back down, I got my feet on the ground, babe. Ain't that the truth? I said, ain't that the truth? Now people walk all over you. You stand in the way, man, they'll plow right through. Well, you can cry, but it's a crying shame. Move over there, buddy, I ain't got time for your games. Yeah, well, ain't that the truth? Sliding back down, I got my feet on the ground, babe. Ain't that the truth, truth? Well, I said, ain't that the truth? That's right. Sunrise shining in my room. I'll pull the covers back and hope it's just a full moon. No chance of that as the radio screams. I'm knee deep in the rat race, if you know what I mean. Know what I mean now. Well, ain't that the truth? Sliding back down, I got my feet on the ground, babe. Ain't that the truth? Truth. I said, ain't that the truth? Yeah. Well, ain't that the truth? Sliding back down, I got my feet on the ground, babe. Ain't that the truth? Truth. Well, I said, ain't that the truth? Come on, yeah. Ain't that the truth? Yeah, man. There we go. Whew. I gotta tell you, man, I've got like these crazy nerves going on here. Making sure everything's good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Anyway, so that was Ain't That the Truth, and that song was borrowed heavily. I borrowed heavily from the song Martha Say by John Mellencamp from the album Big Daddy. Next song was written up in Fort McMurray in November of 1991. I was playing up at the Peter Pond Hotel. I just met, about 6 months earlier than that, I had met lifelong pals, Jim and Jeannie Dory and their kids, Jason, Heather, and Holly. And but like I said, what is it? Amateurs borrow, pros steal. So this next song, I was, along with being a big Mellencamp fan, I was a big, and continue to be a big James McMurtry fan. And Mellencamp produced, there's this whole thing that's very incestuous, I guess, but Mellencamp produced McMurtry's first couple records. He really produced the first album, and then I probably just kind of kept an eye on things for the second album. But the first album, Too Long in the Wasteland, is just a great record. And one of these days, back when I used to play the pubs, I would, my harmonica holder is going to go again. Back when I used to play the pubs, I used to, on a slow night, I would walk out there, and if there was nobody in the bar, or if it was particularly slow, or if I knew the people who were there and I could and I knew that they were kind of digging the tunes that I was playing, I would just play. Some nights I would play, like on a Monday night, I would play, the first set would be the entire Too Long in the Wasteland album. And then the second set would be the entire Big Daddy album. And the third set would be, I don't know, Nebraska. Just, really an evening of music to slit your wrist to. But I loved playing those songs, and they had a massive impact on me. So up at the Peter Pond Hotel, where I was playing in November of 91, earlier in that week, it would have been pretty slow, so I would have been playing all those kind of songs. this song, McMurtry has a song on the Too Long in the Wasteland record called "Song for a Deckhand's Daughter," and it's just a great song. And it kind of goes like a. He'd always whistle Jolly Blonde on his way out the back door on a Friday night. Just a great little folk song, great little story. And so one afternoon in November of 1991, bitterly cold in Fort McMurray in November of 1991, I was playing Song for a Deckhand's Daughter, just sitting in my hotel room. And then I started writing this song. Has anyone seen Benny? Just me trying to write a little story song. Everybody doing okay out there? Hope everybody's doing all right. I am having a great time. I'm telling you right now. 22 minutes into the show and I've played one song. Nice to see that some things don't change. This is the second song on the record, but it's the first song of mine that mentions the name Shepman's Hill. Tom Waits has a quote where he says every song should have weather and a sailor in it. And I've tried to put. I don't think I've written a sailor into any one of my songs yet, but I know what he means. It's just if you can just kind of really bring that, make it feel like the person is there, like you're maybe eavesdropping on a conversation or something, just to really get inside that moment in time, a snapshot. And so instead of weather or a sailor, I put a hill, a place called Shepman's Hill, which would be just on the outskirts of this town that I'm writing about. It could be Bonnyville, it could be any number of towns. It could be Havelock, New Brunswick. When we were kids, we lived on Powell Hill, Powell maybe, Powell, but it's pronounced Powell is how they would pronounce it there. And that just didn't sing well. It didn't have enough rhythm to it. So I came up with Shepman's Hill, and I introduced it here. Has anyone seen Benny? Has Benny been around? Has anybody seen the man in this sleepy northern town? I drove up and down the main street looking for his Oldsmobile. Benny, man, you'll understand, but I hope you're not for real. Benny, where, oh, where did you go? I drove down to the pool hall and asked old Betty Lou, has anyone seen Benny? Betty, can you tell me, has he been through? She said, hell no, I ain't seen him, as she lit a cigarette, shook her head and cursed his name. I ain't seen hide nor hair of him yet. Benny, where, oh, where did you go? Well, Benny parked his Oldsmobile up on Shepman's Hill, and he wrote a suicide note on a $50 bill. Life lost its thrill. Well, he sat there for a minute and thought about his life. He said, man, I must be crazy. And he drove off in the night. He drove down to the pool hall where he saw old Betty Lou. She said, Benny man, oh Benny man, now where the hell did you go to? Benny, where, oh where did you go? Where, oh where did you go? Where, oh where did you go? seen Benny. There it is. Anybody seen that guy anyway? I've been looking for him for years. All right. Okay. Man, this is fun. You guys doing okay? I'm having a great time. There's Mandy. Mandy Hartman. Man, you're going to... Mandy is all... She's one of the people who was forever asking for the song Daisy's Dream, I believe, and kept on dancing. This is kind of her record, per se. Jimmy. Well, Jimmy, if you know all the words to this song, we should have made this a duet. Yeah, man. Andrew Clark, nice to see you, buddy. Allison Green, don't forget to click the like button. I can't read the click button. I got a coffee in my hand. Otherwise, I would. Okay, so now this next song. So then in February of 1993, I pulled out of Edmonton with the song Thunder Road playing, with my eyes leaking the entire time as I was pulling out of Edmonton. Screen door slams, Mary's dress waves. Like a vision she dances across the porch as the radio plays. Roy Orbison singing for the lonely. Hey, that's me and I want you only. Don't turn me home again, I just can't face myself alone again. Yeah, I'm gonna better cut that out right now because I'm just gonna end up singing that whole record. But I was listening to Thunder Road as I rolled out of Edmonton towards Calgary, making my way to Dallas, Texas. So the first day I pulled out mid-afternoon, deadheaded it all the way to Swift Current, Saskatchewan. Next day I got up probably around, I don't know, 6 or 7 in the morning, and then started making my way to the border. Now, I think I said this the other day on my Sunday morning show, but I did the, or maybe it might have been the Instagram thing, but my buddy Gene, who's in Dallas, he came to Edmonton in January so we could do a little bit of pre-production and so we could visit and say hello to everybody and meet my brother and just kind of get a feel for where the hell I was coming from. So he came to Edmonton. And then I was driving him to the airport, and I was going to be leaving for Dallas a couple days later, a week later, something like that. And as I was driving, because in the back of my mind for months now, I was thinking, how am I going to get across the border? I've already been turned away twice. I had to walk this high wire, do this high wire act to get into the border to help Chris get to Los Angeles. Like, what the hell am I going to do this? So I concocted this whole thing of this story where I was going to go visit my buddy. Actually, Chris's buddy. Chris graduated with him, Jeff Borders. Jeff was playing hockey down in Nebraska, college hockey. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to, if they ask me at the border what I do, I'm going to tell them I'm going to see my buddy Jeff, spend a week at his place in Nebraska, watch some hockey, then come back to Canada. But I still had to figure out what am I going to do with my guitar. And then as I was driving Gene to the airport, it dawned on me. I'm gonna get Gene to take my guitar to Dallas with him. He's American, going back into the United States. So with a guitar made in the United States, this is going to be no problem. Kickball, get check. So as we got pulled up to the airport, I said, hey, man, you think you could take my guitar with you? He's like, yeah, no problem. Takes my guitar, away he goes. 6 hours later, he's in Dallas with my guitar. And so a week later, I pull up to the border at the Estevan crossing. They're in Saskatchewan, North Dakota border. And I'm at the crossing, and they said, where are you going? Omaha, Nebraska. Okay, what are you going to be doing in Omaha? Well, my buddy from Bonnyville plays hockey there, and I'm going to go, watch a couple hockey games, hang around for a week or so, and then come back to Canada. What do you do in Canada? I'm a musician. Oh, okay. Are you going to be gigging while you're there? No. Do you have a guitar with you? Nope, I'm on vacation. A musician wouldn't bring a guitar on vacation, would he? So yeah, no, I'm not. I'm just going to Omaha, and then I'll be back here gigging in a couple weeks in Canada. All right, have a great trip. I couldn't even believe it. So I crossed the border and started making my way towards Minot, North Dakota. And I pulled over, and there's this gas station that I stopped at. and I bought a pack of Marlboro Reds, and I inhaled deep with the Marley Reds. Red Death. Loved them. Loved every one of them. I'd spark up right now if I could. But, yeah. And so took a deep drag. That gas station, we stopped at that gas station every time we crossed the border at the Estevan crossing. Every time we would stop there, and I would just be taken right back to that day in February 1993 when I crossed the border the first time and just took that drag off the Marlboro and just inhaled freedom. But anyway, so I drove, so I got, did that whole drive. The next day, after leaving the Swift Current, crossed the border, drove the next day to somewhere in South Dakota. Got there drove into a serious fog bank, and I was in a fog bank for about 15 hours. Probably about 2 o'clock in the morning, rolled into this little town along the interstate, out in the wilderness, high upon the plains. At 3 in the morning, all towns look the same. Yeah, smoke curls from a chimney, silhouettes in the window pane. That's where that lyric, the inspiration for that lyric came from. That was on my song Through Another Town from the Red and White Blues record. But it was on that drive that I saw that. So stopped at a little hotel, got a good night's sleep. Next morning I got up, still fogged in, and then drove for about the next 6 hours in this fog bank. And then all of a sudden the fog was gone, and felt like summertime. All the snow was gone. Rolled through Omaha, and I'm thinking, I'm sort of looking in the skies to see if there's like helicopters or something going on. I thought for sure the INS was going to track me down. But anyway, as luck would have it, didn't happen. But drove about a 20-hour shift that day, drove all the way to Dallas, Texas, pulled into my buddy Gene's place at about 6 o'clock in the morning. And woke up around 8 in the morning when Gene was going to work, and he taps on my window. He says, "Man, you're like 2 days early." I said, "Yeah, I know." So I go in, and he goes to work, and I slept for maybe a couple of hours. I was so excited to be in Texas. And I took out my guitar, this guy right here, and I started working on a song. And it was a song in drop D. Probably the first song I ever wrote in drop D. In fact, I can guarantee you it was the first song I ever wrote. And I think just from having driven for the last 3 days, for the better part of 12, 15 hours a day, I had this feeling of just like, I had this feeling of motion. And this is what I wrote. Well, she bought herself a ticket for a midnight train. Yeah, she's waiting in the station by the pinball machine. A beat-up suitcase holds her favorite things. The only thing I left behind is a diamond ring. You see, the life she been leading only bringing her down. But the 12:15 gonna cover some ground. Yeah, the 12:15 gonna cover some ground. That's right. Oh, well, he filled up the car with the gasoline, a pack of cigarettes and wiped that windshield clean. An ocean of emotion swirling around in his brain, parked out on the highway for some passing terrain. But life even leading on and bringing him down. But the Eldorado gonna cover some ground. Are here, but that don't slow him down. The Eldorado, she gonna cover some. Eldorado gonna cover some ground. The Eldorado gonna cover some ground. Well, she was leaving him, he was leaving her. Oh yeah. Well, now who left who first? Ain't no one know for sure. They gonna cover some. Eldorado gonna cover some ground. The Eldorado gonna cover some ground. That's right. machine says, oh, we're not home. Won't you please leave a message after the tone? Cause like I said before, now mister, we ain't home. She's thinking about doing the same thing too. She get to St. Louis, she just might do it. Just might do it when she get to St. Louis. Just might do it. Oh, when she get to St. Louis, child. Yeah, oh yeah. Well, she bought herself a ticket when the sun come around. I could run back to the northern town. Well, if you stayed all night, hell, you'd never even know. I could be waiting for him when he walks through that door. Yeah. Well, ain't it funny how the great minds think alike now? Now fools seldom differ combined by the sun rose mirror shows he's wearing a frown. You point the Eldorado straight to a northern Eldorado to a northern town. The Eldorado to a northern town. Point the Eldorado to a northern town. Eldorado to a northern town. Yeah. The Eldorado, oh, and the 1215. The Eldorado, oh, and the 1215. Yeah, it kinda make them feel mean, child. Yeah. Eldorado in the 1215. Terry Hiska, there he is. Nice to see you, Terry. How are you, buddy? Terry was an early supporter of the Mike Plume debacle. Yeah, man. Eldorado. So that song, well, it was a fun song to write, and it was the first song. I'm also a big John Hiatt fan, so if you get a chance to check out some Hiatt, if you get a chance to check out some John Hiatt, please do. But Hiatt has this, he's got a knack for writing songs with this a turnaround where, and I was talking about this the other day too, where he's got this song called Trudy and Dave. The entire Slow Turn record has stuff like this where Trudy and Dave, those crazy kids, had a baby of their own, and you heard what they did. They shot up an automated teller machine, took the money for the laundry, and drove away clean. So, yeah, it was these kids, these crazy kids, you know, probably teenagers or in their early 20s, and they had a newborn baby who sat there looking mean, and they needed some money so they could do their laundry. So they shot up a bank machine, and they took the money for the laundry and drove away clean. And it's like, not until the very end of the song you go, oh my God, that's so cool. And he's got another song called Tennessee Plates, and I know for a fact that I played this the other day. And it was where it's about a guy who meets this girl, and they're looking for a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. And so what it ends up being is these guys are going on. They're kind of like the modern day Bonnie and Clyde, and they're on this crime spree across the country. But one thing that she really wants is a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. And as he's driving along, it dawns on him that, wait a minute, Elvis has a lot of Cadillacs, and he lives in Memphis, so there's that Cadillac with Tennessee plates. And so they go to Graceland. They hop the gates, Elvis Presley Boulevard to the Graceland gates. They come looking for a Cadillac with Tennessee plates. Yeah, there must have been a dozen of them parked in that garage. There wasn't one Lincoln and there wasn't one Dodge. There wasn't one Japanese model or make, just pretty Cadillacs with Tennessee plates. She saw him sing them once when she was 17, and ever since that day she's been living in between. I was never king of nothing but this wild weekend. Anyway, he wouldn't care. Hell, he gave them to his friends. And it's just so, I got chills just thinking of that song. And what's cool, in the last verse, he's like, this ain't no hotel. Because the song starts, he woke up in a hotel didn't know what to do, turned the TV on and wrote a letter to you. So he's writing a letter back home. And then in the last verse, he says, this ain't no hotel I'm writing you from. I'm up at Tennessee prison in Brushy Mountain. Yours sincerely is doing 5 to 8. I'm spending all my time making Tennessee plates. And that's just the greatest thing ever. I love it. And so, and that is, as cool as that is, it's even tougher to do. So the thing with El Dorado, it starts with the, well, she bought herself a ticket for the midnight train. And she's waiting at the station by the pinball machine. A beat-up suitcase holds her favorite things. The only thing left behind is a diamond ring. The life she was leading is only bringing her down. But the 12:15 is going to cover some ground. She's getting the hell out of Dodge. So she's leaving. The next verse is, he filled up the car with gasoline, a pack of cigarettes, and wiped the windshield clean. An ocean of emotion swirling round in his brain, parked out on the highway for some passing train. The life he was leading was only bringing him down, but the El Dorado is going to cover some ground. So they both left each other on the same night and didn't realize the other person had left. And so the image of him parked out on the highway as his train goes by through the night at midnight, because he was on the 12:15. That image to me is pretty striking of him, like he's trying to get the hell out of town, and then there's this train going by. He's got to wait at the train crossing, and meanwhile she's on that train. And then the next thing is, well, she was leaving him and he was leaving her. But who left who first, no one knows for sure. But they're going to cover some ground. The El Dorado is going to cover some ground. And then he's driving through the night. He stops somewhere to get some fuel, and he says, he's at a filling station on a public phone. The answering machine says, we're not home. Please leave a message right after the tone, because like I said before, we're not home. And she's thinking of doing the same thing too. And when she gets to St. Louis, she just might do it. So she's thinking, okay, when this train pulls into St. Louis station, I'm just going to get back. I'm going to go back home. So she's thinking, this jerk's probably been out all night long. He doesn't even know I'm gone. And he's thinking, you know what? She probably thinks I'm just out with the boys all night, so I can just go home, and she'll never even know I left her. And then it's got the lyric, well, ain't it funny how great minds... Well, the last verse is... how's the last verse go? When the sun came around, I don't remember what the next line. I have to sing it for me to remember it. Gonna cover some ground. Anyway, so the very next morning when the sun came around, it's going to take him on back to a northern town. And he says, if she stayed out all night, she says, if he stayed out all night. No, she bought herself a ticket when the sun came around. It's going to take her on back to the northern town. If he stayed out all night, hell, he'd never even know. I could be waiting for him when he walks through the door. And at that point, so you sort of realize, they get back, and neither knows the other left, and they just sort of continue on in their dysfunctional way. But at that point in the song, there's a bit of a tragically hip tip of the hat, which is I'll be leaving you, or I'll be leaving you tonight. Because at 5:55 he comes walking in the front door smiling, saying, don't read too much into what I ain't denying. She screams, I'll believe in you, or I'll be leaving you tonight. And that was kind of what's going on there. So there's parts of that song where that hip song, I'll believe in you, heavily influenced that song, as did the hip song on The Verge. We got a horse load of hucksters, whispered gimmicks, and all, whatever. I can't remember what those lyrics are either, but do I plug it in or do I stick it in it? Well, I don't know what came over me. I'm too dumb for words. I didn't think I'd like it here at all, but I swear I'm on the verge. So that hip song, and those two hip songs, On the Verge and I'll Be Leaving You, had a pretty serious influence on that song. As did the title El Dorado, because I didn't know what kind of car the guy was driving. Is it a Hyundai? No, Hyundai is not a good song. You can't sing a song about a Hyundai. Bruce Springsteen didn't sing a song called Pink Hyundai. No, it's got to be Cadillac. It's got to be a Cadillac of some persuasion. So I was going through all these different types of caddies. Or was it a 57 Chevy? I could picture all these things. And then this was 1993, and I was listening to the Tragically Hip's Fully Completely album. And the last song on that record is called El Dorado. And I read that word and I thought, there's the car he was driving, El Dorado. Anyway, so like they say, amateurs borrow, pros steal. So I've borrowed heavily on that song. Okay, let's see if I can get back to this here. Okay, this song is called, this will be the fourth song on the record. We're about an hour into the show. This is getting crazy. I'm just going to have to do maybe like a medley. Maybe we can get the hell out of here in the next 15 minutes. But this song, yeah, I was probably too young to write this song. Just the subject matter, I guess. It's just, somebody who just, I don't know. But that being said, this is called Crazy After All, and I haven't played this one in a long time. Well, that's a lie. I played it this afternoon, but it was the first time in probably 20 years. In fact, I know it was the first time in 20 years. The last time we played this song would have been in April of 1999 at a gig in Ohio, at some college gig in Ohio. It would have been Mazurik's last gig in Ohio before he decided he needed to take some time off. And we drove back to Nashville after that show. He and I. It would have been the last time I played this song. She's going crazy, says, Lord, won't you save me tonight? I've been going round in circles, praying it'll work out alright. And I'm stuck in this office building, and this desk is just like a prison. Caught inside an emotional landslide. When they find me, I'll be crazy after all. Little darling, when Charlie's going crazy, his wife says, man, you're lazy, but you know they've got 2 kids and a car. The banker knows just who they are because they owe, yeah. And Charlie stares at the TV, and his wife with her nose in a magazine. Yeah, the two of a kind of better pay you can't find. When they find they've gone crazy after all. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Little darling. Yeah, now sugar. I've been going crazy, said, Lord, won't you save me tonight? I've been going around in circles and singing in this circus every night, yeah. And this stage, it's just like a prison. Is anyone out there listening? Yeah, I'm caught inside an emotional landslide. When they find me, I'll be crazy after all. Ooh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, nah, sugar, crazy after all. Crazy after all, man. Been a long time since I played that one. Who requested Shreveport to L.A.? Wrong record, man. Jarrett, sorry, buddy, but it will be on. I will be playing that. When will I be playing that? I'll play it Sunday morning for you on Easy Like Sunday Morning, 8 p.m. Mountain, 8 p.m., 8 a.m., 9 a.m. What am I doing? 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So 9 o'clock Sunday morning, Alberta time. Easy Like Sunday Morning. I will certainly be playing that song for you. Jarrett, I played it last week. I might as well play it again, right? Yeah. But, yeah, so that was Crazy After All. And, yeah, we might have to work that one into the show again. It's a fun little tune. Trying to think of the influences on that song. Certainly Mellencamp, probably like a Pink Houses kind of thing. There's a song by the Bodines called I'm in Trouble Again, which would have influenced that song. I remember years ago, well, a long time ago, because this record came out 28 years ago. Murray Pigeon. Kept on Dancing's coming up, buddy. 2 or 3 more songs. Back in 91, 92, 93, something like that, I read the Springsteen biography called Glory Days. And there was a scene, there was a bit in that book where on the Born in the USA tour, or maybe it was the River tour, they were on the road and they had a night off in Denver, I think. And so Bruce decides, I'm going to go see a movie. And so he goes to check out this flick. And he goes to check out, Springsteen goes to see this movie. And this kid, 18, 19, 20-year-old guy, he's there with his girlfriend. And they're like, oh my God, there's Springsteen. So he goes up and, Bruce, I'm a big fan. Can I get your autograph and all that kind of stuff? And Bruce's like, yeah, man, sure. So he signs his stuff for him. What movie are you going to see? He says, I'm going to see this. Well, we're going to see it too. So they end up like sitting with Springsteen for this movie. And then after the movie, they're walking out the door and Bruce is on his way to his car. And the guy says, hey, what are you doing for dinner? You want to come by and meet my folks? And so Springsteen says, yeah, what the hell? So it's amazing. But yeah, so he goes and goes over to this guy's folks' place. And he said he walks in the way they describe it in the book, he walked in and Mom, Dad, it's Bruce Springsteen. And he said he looked in the living room. The husband was, just sort of sitting there watching TV. And, his mom had her nose in a magazine and just kind of living their life, day to day and plodding along. Anyway, just the image of him just sort of sitting there watching TV, sitting in his recliner and his wife in the chair beside him, reading a magazine. Just there's just something about that really hit me. And that's Charlie. So Charlie's going crazy. His wife says, man, you're lazy, but they got 2 kids in a car. The banker knows just who they are because they owe. And Charlie stares at the TV and his wife with her nose in a magazine. Well, the 2 of a kind, I better pay you can't find when they find they've gone crazy after all. Yeah, so anyway, that's that one. That's pretty much all I think I can have to say or remember to say about that one. The next song is A Million Miles Away, also heavily influenced by Springsteen, The River. But I wrote this song in November of 1991, the same month I wrote Has Anyone Seen Benny? And I was driving to Red Deer for a gig at the Crown and Anchor. And I bought 2 albums. I stopped at the HMV on the way out of Edmonton. I bought 2 albums. I bought Tom Petty's Into the Great Wide Open. Maybe I didn't buy that then. I was certainly listening to that on the drive. But I bought On Every Street. And there's a song on that record called You and Your Friend. And that song, that Dire Straits album, on every street. The song "You and Your Friend" sonically had a pretty heavy influence on this tune. And but here it is, "A Million Miles Away."
That's how it feels. So it might as well be a million miles away. A million miles away. Too many people with opinions could drive me insane, but I might as well be a million miles away. A million miles away. I don't know if I'm making any sense. All I know is I wanna get off of this fence and run a million miles away. I wanna run a million miles away. Oh, la da 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 da. I don't know if I'm making any sense. All I know is I wanna get off of this fence and say, baby, look at me, won't you look at me, won't you look at me, darling, won't you look at me, darling, can't you see, darling, can't you see I'm falling behind. Look at me, won't you look at me, darling, can't you see that I'm just a million miles away, yeah, but still within arm's reach. But I might as well be a million miles away. A million miles away. Oh, la da 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 da.
A Million Miles Away. And it's probably been a million miles since I've played that song. But, yeah, man. I hope you guys are having half as much fun as I am, because I am having a great time. Absolutely. Everything's still okay out there. Everybody doing okay out there. I certainly am. But next song is called Something or Someone to Hold. And this would be the first song that I wrote for this record. I wrote it in December. I wrote it on Boxing Day, 1988, if you can believe that. I've been on the road with this band. I was singing in a band that I was about to be fired from. But playing in a band, we were called Last Child, and we were a cover band, and we played lots of Doors. I couldn't sing any of the stuff they wanted me to sing because I just didn't have a voice for it. The key to the whole thing is, and I was talking, there's some guys tuned in here, Matthew and Elijah and all these guys, but the key is to figure out what you can't do. Get rid of that, and whatever's left, you might be pretty good at it. So, but you have to figure that out, and usually you have to figure that out in front of a paying audience, regrettably, or certainly for me anyway. But so I was playing in this cover band called Last Child, and Byron Buchert was on drums, who played drums on the Songs from Northern Town tour. Byron Buchert on drums, Mick Sargent on bass, Jeff Fry on guitar, Jerry Malcolm on guitar, and yours truly up front singing. So we played 6 nights a week, year round. Well, I was only in the band for 9 or 10 months, but we played 6 nights a week for that entire time. And so I got home, I think, like on the 23rd of December, something like that. And then our next show was in Saskatoon on the 27th. We're playing New Year's, the week of New Year's, in Saskatoon at the A4 in Saskatoon. And just the way bus schedules worked, I had to leave on Boxing Day so that I could get to Saskatoon in time. I don't know why that was. You would think I would have been able to leave. I don't know. Anyway, doesn't matter. I had to leave on Boxing Day. And so I get to the hotel in Saskatoon, some old hotel right downtown Saskatoon. Woke up in a hotel room downtown Saskatoon. And it was completely empty. I was the only person staying there. The rest of the guys in the band all lived in Saskatoon, and I don't know. I guess I was a dumbass. It just never dawned on me to call anybody and say, "Hey, I'm in town. Let's hang out." So I just sat in this empty hotel in Saskatoon on Boxing Day. Sat there. There was nobody there, just the person behind the counter, and that was it. And I went up to my room, and that's where I wrote this song. I took out my guitar and wrote this song. And again, amateurs borrow, pros steal. So I was on this really serious U2 kick at that point. Still am, but at that point I was in about a year and a half long U2 kick at that point. And of course, the song "With or Without You" haunted me then, haunts me still. It is just a perfect song, a 4-chord repeater. And so this was my desperate attempt to write something like that. In October of 1988, so 2 months before that, I went to see the movie Rattle and Hum in a theater. I can't remember which theater I saw it in first, but I saw it 5 times. I do know that. I saw it twice in Grand Prairie. I saw it once in Edmonton. I saw it twice in Williams Lake. We were playing in Williams Lake. We were doing 6 nights in Williams Lake, and we were playing quite a few original tunes in Williams Lake by that point. And after the first set, on the first night, the bar manager came up and says, "You guys didn't read the rules, did you?" Rules? What rules? And apparently there was rules that we were given in the contract that we never saw and didn't pay any attention to. And the rule was absolutely no original material. A $25 fine for every original song you played. So back at that point, we would have been playing probably 4 originals per set. So we got dinged $100 that first set. And that was a lot of money for a bunch of guys making $150 a week. That's what I was making. I was making $150 a week. Crazy. $25 a night. $75 for a back 3, $150 for a 6-nighter. How about that? Anyway, so I wrote this in Saskatoon, and this was my attempt to write something that would be U2-esque. I think I may have missed the net. I didn't even hit the post. I missed the net, but it still ended up on the first record, and it was I was like 4.5 years almost 5 years before I wrote that song. Almost 5 years before the album actually came out. So carried it around for a while. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm walking, but I don't know. You know I'm talking about where to go, but I'm looking for something, for someone to hold. I'm just looking for something or someone to hold. Trying to understand why I'm crying. It ain't like a man, but I'm looking for something or someone to hold. I've just been looking for something or someone to hold. Sometimes a night is looking for affection, and sometimes a night, well, it looks in your direction. Yeah, sometimes a night can seem awful cold. When you're looking for something or someone to hold, I said, Lord of mercy, I've been looking for something or someone to hold. For affection, yeah, sometimes a night looks in your direction. Sometimes a night, well, it can seem awful cold. Yeah. That's when you're looking for something or someone to hold. I said, Lord of mercy, I've been looking for something or someone to hold. Well, yeah, well, I've been doing things I said I wouldn't even know. I know I shouldn't, but I'm looking for something or someone to hold. I said, Lord of mercy, I've been looking for something or someone to hold. You know I can't stop now, looking for something or someone to hold. Who's there? Who'll care? Baby, baby, who's there? Who gonna care? Baby, baby, who's there? Who gonna care? I said, oh, baby, baby, who's there? Who gonna care? Oh, no. Man, living. Something or someone to hold. I saw Will Ayresman say something here. If I remember correctly, didn't Philip run monitors? Yes, he did. Philip did. Philip was a monitor tech on the Rattle and Hum tour. The first time I went to Philip's place in September of '92, Gene and I went over there and met Philip and Jane. He had like a platinum album for Rattle and Hum, hanging on the wall, and I was completely starstruck. Philip is the guy. I probably told some of you guys this story. Philip is the guy. He's from London, and he flew to New York City when he was, I don't know, 20 years old, something like that, in 1982, 83. And he really didn't know what the hell he was going to do. He was in America on vacation. And so he's at the airport walking around, and he grabs a newspaper and he just flipping through the paper, and he finds himself in the want ads, and he sees this ad that says, "Looking for someone to drive my Cadillac from New York to Los Angeles." It's like, this can't be. So he calls the guy, and the guy's like, "Yeah, I'll see you there." So where are you at? "I'm at JFK. Guy drives to JFK, pulls up like an, I don't know, in my head it's probably like an El Dorado or something. He pulls up in an Eldo, ragtop Eldo, throws him the keys and said, "Yeah, if you can deliver this to LA in the next week or so, that'd be great." And that's how Philip saw the United States for the first time. Is that, like, that should be a movie. Anyway, next song is Kept on Dancing. Started writing this song in April 23rd, 1992, and it would have been the last full day of my mom's life. She died the next morning at 4. What did they say? I think between 4:30 and 5 o'clock in the morning on April 24th. And Hudson, Chris's oldest boy, was born at 4:57 on April 24th, 11 years later. So I would not be remotely surprised if she passed away at 4:57. It just feels just too serendipitous. Yeah, anyway. But I started that song in the afternoon of April 23rd. Wrote the verses pretty quick, the bulk of the verses, maybe even all the verses. Didn't have a good chorus, had the melody, didn't like the chorus. So it took me a while. But, then obviously the next day when our mom passed away, things just... We had other things to focus on, of course. So in August of that year, late July, early August of that year, I was flipping through my lyric book, and I stumbled onto that song. I said, "Oh man, I forgot about that song." And so I sat at our house in Bonnyville, and worked on it. And the lyrics for the chorus just were there waiting to be written at that point. They weren't in April, but they were in August. And this just kept on dancing. Guy Clark said about his song, that old time feeling. This is the first song that I kept. The first song I wrote that I kept. And while that's not quite the case, because there are plenty of songs before that, but this was the first song of mine that I am very happy with. I spend my days being lazy. That's if you're outside looking in. Don't you come around here and try to save me, 'cause you would never know where to begin. Whoever said love was just a game, man, they sure weren't too far off the mark. It starts between a flicker and a flame, but it's still just a shot in the dark. I see your face froze in confusion. Girl, that look, it ain't nothing new to me. You
You walk around in your own illusion, seeing only what you want to see. 'Cause you knew all the answers, and I believe them to be true. The music died, but I kept on dancing. 'Cause baby, it was you. Yeah, it was you. Can't you hear me? Well, it was you. Someone said the world, it's just a stage, but everybody's got to play their part. But man, my script was missing a page, but I believed I could play it all by heart. 'Cause me, I knew all the answers, and I believe them to be true. The music died, but I kept on dancing. 'Cause baby, it was you. Now I see my reflection in the window. A few more lines, but that's still me. I lose my direction when the wind blows, but I still know where I'm gonna be. I still know where I wanna be, yeah. Oh, but you knew all the answers, and I believe them to be true. The music died, but like a fool I kept on dancing. 'Cause baby, it was you. Baby, it was you. Baby, it was you. Kept on dancing. There was a lyric. I was an interview with Paul Simon once, where he talked that when he's working on songs, he said if you didn't know he was working on songs, if you were just looking at him, you would think, is he doing anything? Is he just being lazy? What's going on? And I think that might have been like the germ of the idea of the original, of the opening lyric to that song. Spend my days being lazy. That's if you're outside looking in. Because he said that he would just look out the window of his house over he lives out on Long Island, I think, and he would just look out over the ocean, and he had a tennis ball that he would just sort of bounce off the windows as he was working on the lyrics to a song, and he would just almost like end up in a trance. And he said if you didn't know better, if you were just sort of looking, you were like, what is this guy doing? He's out of his mind. Either that or he's comatose, one of the two. So yeah, that's I think that's where the original lyric came from. Let me see. Now the next song, somebody was asking, I'm looking for that's not that harp. I am looking for, what is it? Yes. Back to the old borrowing versus stealing. Here's a amateur hour, borrowing heavily from Bruce Springsteen, yet again. This was my attempt at writing Rosalita. And, better to aim for the stars and land on the roof than to aim for the roof and land in the basement. So I was aiming for the stars with this one and landed on the roof. I've been on more roofs than Santa Claus, as they say. But anyway, this is just kind of just a rocker. It was always fun to play live. It's still fun to play live. The guys and I, we did Derek, Dave, Ernie, and I did a run of shows back in June of last year, 2 years ago, 2019. Hard to believe that was almost 2 years ago. But anyway, we did some shows, Calgary, Edmonton, St. Paul. And boy, oh boy, it was the first time we played the Rebound in a long time. And
Yeah, that's the song does the trick, I'll tell you. Anyway, here it is, the rebound. The rebound on 4.
Little darling, what you wanna do? I got $1 in my pocket and I wanna run away with you. This job might drive me over the cliff, honey, but I know I'll be alright, little darling, if it's you I'm with. Hey, oh yeah, oh yeah, just you and me and the wind blowing back our hair. I don't know where we're going, but we'll know once we get there. That's right. Come on, baby, let's leave this town. Ain't nothing in the rust, so why stick around? Come on, baby, wipe away your frown. We'll catch 'em all. Yeah, we will catch 'em on the rebound. Yeah, catch 'em on the rebound. That's right, listen up. I don't care what your mama, she might think about me. Well, if we wanted her opinion, we'd ask her now, wouldn't we? That's right. I don't care what your daddy, he say. There ain't no tomorrow, to hell with yesterday. Live the right here and now. We'll catch 'em all. Yeah, we will catch 'em on the rebound. Yeah, we'll catch 'em on the rebound. That's right. Well, I remember all of those nights up on Shepman's Hill. It wasn't blue, baby, but we sure did find our thrills. We were singing, come on, come on, come on, pretty baby. 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 Come on, baby, we'll leave this town. There's nothing in the rush, so why stick around? Come on, baby, wipe away your frown. We'll catch 'em all. Yeah, we will catch 'em on the rebound. Yeah, we'll catch 'em on the rebound. Yeah, we'll catch 'em on the rebound. Catch 'em on the rebound. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, man, the rebound. Rebound on 4. That was kind of the joke between me and the guys. We were sort of looking for a song, and if I couldn't think of a song, I'd look over to one of the guys, and any one of them, Dave, Derek, or any, they would say, rebound on 4, rebound on 4. 1, 2, 3. Thunder crack snare drum. Byron, how you doing out there, buddy? How's life in Bonneville treating you? Steve Hassenplug, there he is, man. Thanks for tuning in, man. Steve, man, I got to tell you, thank you very much for all the support over the years and all the support over the last 4 or 5 months here of doing the Sunday morning shows as well over there. You bought me a lot of coffee, I'll tell you, and thank you very much for that. Let me see. So many people, especially the 12-minute medley. Yes, do you remember those days, Glenn D? Yes, indeed. Somebody was asking, where is I Feel All Right? And yeah, I just didn't play that one tonight for some reason. Hindsight being 2020, that's probably the one song I probably could have spent a little more time working on. And so yeah. But, youth is wasted on the young. The recording of that first album was so much fun, though. And thank God for Philip and Gene and Will and all the guys, Mark and Steve, for helping me keep my shit together, because there was a whole lot of what's this button do when I was in the studio, a big studio for the first time, man. It was pretty cool, man. So, but it was a lot of fun. We mixed the album in Vancouver. We finished recording the album in late May of 1993, May 23rd, 24th, something like that. And then Chris and I drove back to Edmonton the first week of June. And the album was done. We were done recording it, and then Philip had something going on. We were going to try to mix it like right after we finished recording it, and then Philip had something going on, another gig or something, and he's like, "Look, I got to do this other job, and in all honesty, it wouldn't be a bad idea to get away from the record for a little while, let your ears rest, and then we'll go mix this." And I remember saying, "Well, I can't just, as much as I want to stay in Dallas, I can't just stay in Dallas. I got to go back and maybe do some gigs and stuff like that." So we left. We drove back to Canada, and I asked Philip, I said, "Look, do you think you could find a studio in Canada where we could mix this?" So it was recorded on a specific type of tape deck. And I don't remember what it was, but the only studio, the only person who had that kind of capability was Bryan Adams in Vancouver. And so he called up, I don't know who he called up, but he called somebody. Well, there might have been, I don't know who, Bruce Allen, he called somebody, and Philip did. And next thing I know, in early August, me and Chris, and his buddy Danny LaRue, and Philip and Gene were all, Philip and Gene flew into Edmonton, and then we all drove to Vancouver. They wanted to do that trip over the mountains. So we did that. We drove to Vancouver, and then we spent a week mixing that album at Bryan Adams' house, man. And that was it was surreal, like you're hanging out at a rock star's place. He wasn't there. He got the hell out of town when he found out we were coming to town. He was probably at his place in England, actually, by that point. But yeah, it was his house. It was in his house, not even just his studio. It was in his basement. And it wasn't just any basement. It was like overlooking English Bay. It was gorgeous. And yeah, we'd show up every day, and there was the gates, and there would be like notes, from fans left on the gates. Pretty cool. And but yeah, we mixed the album there. A lot of laughs, I'll tell you. And Danny wrote off probably a $10,000 Italian leather couch when he fell asleep with a Bacardi and Coke in his hand, and spilt it all over the cushion. Cat's out of the bag, Danny. But anyway, back to work. This song is called Everything's All Right. And it's one of my favorites on the record. I think it was probably the first song I wrote after my mom died. I wrote this in early May of 1992. I do know that for sure. And I think the first person I played it for, I think my buddy Darren Horn. We were probably going golfing that day, and he came by the house, and I said, "Man, check this tune out, man. I just wrote, man." And I remember playing that for him. Anyway, here you go. She comes to me most every night, faithfully. She waits for me. She
waits for me so patiently, patiently. When I'm feeling low, she soothes my soul. There ain't no way around it. Can't you see? Can't you see? Can't you see? She understands me when most everybody would turn away, just turn away. She listens close when I need it the most, and she says it's alright when I've nothing left to say, nothing left to say. It's alright, don't you know everything's alright? It's gonna be alright. It's alright, don't you know everything's alright? It's getting better, I'm by your side for now and ever, starting today. Yeah, starting today. And it's alright, it's getting better, I'm by your side for now and ever, starting today. She comes to me most every night faithfully, so faithfully, and she sings, it's alright, don't you know everything's alright? It's gonna be alright. It's alright, don't you know everything's alright? It's gonna be alright, don't you know everything's alright? Gonna be alright, don't you know everything's alright? Indeed. Everything's all right. Well, we have two more songs here. For a 44-minute record, we are now an hour 35 into this thing. I don't know what the heck's what's my problem is. I talk too much. Anyway, this is a song called Eyes Like Road Maps, and it's just a song about driving. Again, it's one of those songs that has just that driving feel, kind of a Johnny Cash kind of thing. It was written, it had way more of a Johnny Cash feel than we recorded it. When we recorded it, it ended up having more of a cut time band / Little Feat kind of feel. But it was probably more intended to have the Johnny Cash feel. But when we started rehearsing the song and Mark laid into this drum groove, I'd never heard anybody play a cut time groove like that before. And I thought, well, the hell with this. We're going to change this song right now. And we did. But this is Eyes Like Road Maps. Some lyrical inspiration on this song would have been the Kevin Welch song. Was it called Some Kind of Paradise? Last song on side 1 on cassette, or the halfway point on CD, of his first record with True Love Never Dies and all those songs. His daddy said when he was a baby, he was impossible to hold. He'd fuss and fight and he'd giggle all night and terrify the whole household.
Yeah, some people ran around in circles. Yeah, but he drew a real straight line. That's where I got that line from. So anyway, here it is. Rolling down this highway, don't remember where I was last. If you're standing in my way, move over so I can pass. I ain't running around in circles, drawing a real straight line. I know where my turn is, baby, but I ain't seen no sign. Oh yeah, oh no, seen no sign. Well, I roll into a truck stop on the outskirts of town. Walk into some coffee shop and knock some coffee down. Well, I call up my baby on the telephone. Let her know that her sugar daddy's just coming on home. Yeah, let her know sugar daddy coming home. My eyes like road maps, can't find my way home. Oh no, well my radio keeps cutting out and I'm caught in between the station's frequencies. Oh yeah, well I'm rolling down this highway, rolling down from the north. Don't you ask me where I was last night, cause honey I ain't too sure. Now there's a train in the distance singing its lonesome song, a peculiar existence, but I believe I can sing along. Yeah, yeah I know, oh yeah, I said I know, I believe I can sing along. That's right. My eyes like road maps, can't find my way home. Oh no, radio keeps cutting out, I'm caught in between this station's frequencies. Oh yeah baby, this frequency zone. Eyes like road maps, can't find my way home. Yeah, man. Who's that right there? From all the Bonneville fans that moved to Lloydminster. We'd love to see you come and play. You know what, man? I gotta go play Lloyd. I haven't played Lloyd in a long time. Like 20 years time. Gotta make that happen. Once this fog all lifts that we all find ourselves in, I will be in Lloydminster. I guarantee you. The last time we played Lloyd, the second last time we played Lloyd, we did this gig, 6 nights. It was May of 1997. It was my birthday, actually. And, God, we were doing 6 nights there. And the bar said, we don't give you any beer, but we'll sell it to you for $1 a beer. Okay, good. So just put it on our tab, put it on our tab, put it on our tab. After 6 nights, we had a $400 tab between 4 of us. Jesus. Anyway, but with that being said, it's we have now come to that point of the evening where it's the last song on the record, and it was written. With the exception of El Dorado, I think it was probably the last song written for the album. I loved the album, the Springsteen album, Lucky Town. Man, did I like that record. And I couldn't believe that he wrote a song a day. And then, yes, Trailside, that's exactly where it was, Marcus. But I love that album. Lucky Town. I loved it 100 times more than I loved the Human Touch album, which came out on the same day. And I think maybe the reason is because all those songs that ended up being on Lucky Town were all written in like a week and a half. So it's the same guy as opposed to having years to work on stuff, I guess. I don't know. It just felt like one body of work, those 10 songs. And I think they're all in the key of D too. But So that might be part of it. But I really liked that record, and there's some great songs on there. Beautiful Reward is a great song. That one's in G. Another great song on there was Book of Dreams. Should I Fall Behind? But Book of Dreams, I like the way Springsteen sang the word dreams. And I thought, I'm gonna try to write a song with the word dream in it. And that's where Daisy's Dream came from. Daisy also makes an appearance on a song of mine that I wrote back in 1990, October of 1990, but it didn't. The song called The Graveyard Shift. Daisy works at the corner store just up the block. I don't know if you've read a lot of Larry McMurtry, but his characters work their way through all of his books, it seems. And so once you've read a couple of his books and then you're reading another one and then this character from another book shows up, it's just like seeing an old friend. And so I've kind of tried to do that to whatever extent. I mean, probably failed miserably more often than not, but I kind of tried to have some of these characters. So Daisy would be one. She works at the corner store just up the block. She works the graveyard shift, so some nights I go up there and we talk. So this is the same girl. What else? Again, Shepman's Hill. So it showed up twice on this album. Once when Benny goes up there in his Oldsmobile and writes a suicide note on a $50 bill, and then changes his mind and goes back down to the pool hall, cashes that $50 for a beer and a game of pool. And then later in the rebound, when he, the guy in the song, I remember those nights up on Shepman's Hill. It wasn't Blueberry, but we sure did find our thrills. So it's kind of that. It's kind of one of those kind of hills where people would go to park, Lover's Lane, if you will. And then and Shepman's Hill shows up in a couple other songs, a couple albums down the road. But I wrote Daisy's Dream in October 1992, and it's just a nice little song. I wrote the verses really quick, sent it, the demo of it, to Gene and Will and Philip and the guys, and they listened to it and told me that I need to write a bridge for it, and so I wrote a bridge for it as well. You'll hear it when it comes around. Anyway, here it is. But thanks so much for this, guys. You really made my day showing up here on a school night and everything. And you folks out there on the East Coast, it's getting late, so we're going to try to wrap this up soon. But thanks so much. And here you go.
April showers bring May flowers, so I'm told. And at the end of every rainbow there's a pot of gold. But there's a girl that lives up the block, just up the street. Oh Lord, won't you let me be a part of Daisy's dream. Me, I was born and raised in these here parts, where these cold northern winds could put a chill on the warmest of hearts. And if I could, I surely would, man, there's someplace I'd much rather be. Up the street, up the block, and right into Daisy's dream. Every time I think I'm moving down that line, Daisy walks through my mind. Daisy, you got something that I need, asking for not nothing but your company. Daisy, all I'm asking for is just your company. Daisy, I'm just a fool, I know it's plain to see. I never thought anyone could mean this much to me. Daisy, all I'm asking for is days that have yet to be, and Daisy's dream. She don't know how I feel, but tell me, man, well, what could I do? And I know just what you'd say if you said, man, if I were you. She's got a wall built around her so high, or so it seems. Oh Lord, won't you let me be a part of Daisy's dream? Sweet Daisy's dream, a sweet Daisy's dream. Yeah, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in on this, the first revisited show. Next week, next Wednesday, also at 8 p.m., will be Jump Back Kerouac Revisited. And I have a bunch of stories for that one as well. There's quite a few more songs on that record, too, so hopefully I can tighten up my stories and not ramble. You know, they don't call me Ramblin' Mike because I like to travel. But Mike Baker, thank you very much for tuning in. Yari, thank you. Jarrett, Jill, Byron, all you guys. Again, I'd like to thank Will Arisman for playing bass on that record, Gene for playing piano and accordion, and B3, Philip for producing it, Steve for playing guitar, Mark Hershon for playing the drums. Rest in peace, Mark. He's been gone a while now, but rest in peace just the same. Thanks to my brother for believing in me the whole time and throwing in for this damned crazy ride that we've been on. And thank you for showing up here tonight, man. This is just crazy. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you next. Actually, I'll see you tomorrow morning over on Instagram at 7 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for a cup of coffee. And then I'll see you Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for Easy Like Sunday Morning. And that'll be more of a cavalcade of hits, all my other catalogs, all the songs from my catalog. And then, of course, next Wednesday for the Jump Back Kerouac record, front to back, top to bottom, tip to tail, bow to stern. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. See you later. Have a great week. Thanks again.